Welcome back to Sahara TV. Much ado about Cecil the Lion. The name Cecil the Lion hit the international press some days ago with a lot said about a certain African lion in Zimbabwe that was lured out of its comfort zone and hunted down by an American hunter, dentist to be precise. How much did Cecil mean to Zimbabweans? And beyond Cecil, what else is going on in Zimbabwe that needs an equal measure of the world's attention? We're going to discuss this issue with our very own Fungai Oliver Maboreke, who, of course, is Zimbabwean. And we also have on the line reaching us Themba Mliswa. Honorable Themba Mliswa is the former MP for Hurungwe West in Zimbabwe. He has certain credentials that I would prefer Fungai to introduce before we actually invite him formally onto this discussion. Over to you, Fungai.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Mliswa, are you there?
I'm there.
Okay, so just for our viewers' sake, you've been an advocate for the youth. You've also been an advocate for political fairness in Zimbabwe. You've been an outspoken critic of white dominance in sport and, you know, predominantly rugby and cricket. But right now we bring you, first of all, to discuss about Cecil the Lion. What did Cecil the Lion mean to you and Zimbabwe?
Listen, to be honest with you, just like God created human beings, there's nature too, and Cecil the Lion is not different from any other lion, any other animal which is out there. And I think quite clearly, I am of the totem Shumba, which means lion, really. I actually should be more worried about Cecil the Thing Lion, because that's the family that we come from. We come from the lion family, the Shumba family. And equally, there's a lot which is attached to it. But the way that it's been taken, I think it's overboard. I think we have more pressing issues in this country and more pressing issues in the world than for us to focus on the thing lion. And quite clearly, because of the wildlife that is in Zimbabwe, the thing lion family happens to be one of those families which can be hunted down, because we have many of them, and in having many of them, they equally cause havoc to human nature. They also hunt down people, they kill people. So because of that, they are also given, the hunters are given that authority to ship them down as trophies, so that we don't have many of them around. So it is within the laws and regulations of the country that, yes, a lion was shot, and unfortunately this one happens to be Cecil, which, of course, like any other pet, you know, one would certainly have some sentimental feelings and a sentimental value to it. But beyond that, are we saying that there are no other lions that are going to come after that? And, you know, like I said, we have pressing issues, but besides another issue, I'm an advocate for human rights. Here is somebody who was abducted by the regime, and the whole world is quiet about that. This is a human being. The whole world is quiet about that. There's no money that has even been raised for the upkeep of his family. I ended up donating 1 ton of maize, which is not much, so that his family could get some food. But here we are, we have nearly £500,000 already raised over a lion. I mean, people are even talking about the successor of Cecil the Lion, who is Jericho, the brother. Yet we should be talking about who should be the successor after Mugabe, so that, you know, Zimbabwe moves forward, we deal with the economic situation, and the very same nature that people enjoy. They can only enjoy it if the economy is stable at the end of the day. And equally, if the economy was stable in this country, I don't think we would then have animal hunting as a way to raise money for the country. It has become a way of generating income for the country, which goes to the fiscus at the end of the day. And my challenge and my question to the entire world: why don't we get things right in Zimbabwe? Make sure we have the right leadership. Make sure that the economy is dealt with, so that the welfare of the people is of paramount importance. Thereafter, can nature be taken care of at the end of the day? But for as long as we don't have an economic balance, the animals will be hunted down, and the sea souls of this world will be hunted down, because we are in a desperate situation economically, and we will pursue any other avenue for us to generate income.
Interesting thoughts there, Mr. Mliswa. But before we go into those thoughts that you have so expertly expressed, we want to, pick a bit more at it. But let's kick back a little and look at the issue of Cecil the Lion. Are Zimbabweans really calling for? I mean, when I say Zimbabweans, I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about people. Is there like a popular outcry for the extradition of Palmer back to Zimbabwe to face charges?
Not at all. Not at all. This is outside Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, people don't even care. They don't even read about Cecil the Lion. I mean, all the reports which are coming through, which we are reading in Zimbabwe, are coming from overseas. There was not even an article in this country when Cecil was killed, but all the articles, the sources are from the internet and from the international community and from the activists in terms of conservancy and animals and so forth. But listen, Zimbabweans are more worried about food on the table than Cecil, to be honest with you. And why would we really focus on Cecil? I mean, a human being to us is more important than an animal, and people must understand that, And we see these animals every day, and they're equally harmful to us. So a lion being killed actually saves lives, because lions are dangerous too.
Okay, but I would believe that a lion in a game reserve would be in a controlled environment. So that should, but I'm not sure what the situation is on the ground. Let me turn to you, Fungai, for a minute. How big really of a deal is it to you as a Zimbabwean living outside of Zimbabwe?
Well, just like Mliswa has mentioned, I mean, a lion is a lion and it roams in the jungle, but then Zimbabwe has transformed and transgressed into a desperate situation, as he puts it. They've relocated the farms to, fellow Zimbabweans. They've depleted the mineral resources in terms of diamonds. So now the most natural resource that's left, and that is obviously the roaming animals, where Zimbabwe has been exporting these animals to other countries. So when the world makes the cry about a shut down lion, we have to then question ourselves and say, whose hand did the money end up in? But then again, like Mliswa has put it, Shumba is the great spirit of Zimbabwe, Mondoro. So Thomas Mapfumo was speaking somewhere in the UK last week. He mentioned about how disrespectful, that an American dentist came to kill Cecil. And then also on one hand, Cecil is the first name of
Cecil Rhodes.
Cecil John Rhodes is the name of a colonizer. So the dynamics and the whole vision and the picture is kind of like a mockery for the Zimbabwean people. But at the same time, I'm also in agreement that there are more pressing issues. There's a gentleman by the name of Itai Dzamara, whose birthday was yesterday. Nobody knows what happened to him. And the world didn't care. The world didn't stop. A few Zimbabweans have gathered around to celebrate, and Mliswa was one of those who came out to a prayer meeting some weeks ago. So I think the subject of discussion right now is, where is Zimbabwe heading to?
The priorities in terms of what is news, what is really...
What is worth talking about.
What the people really want talked about.
Right.
Let me also ask you, do you smell a rat? Do you feel there's government complicity in this whole thing?
It is, because obviously somebody got paid. Somebody got paid, and it's going to happen because that's the resources that are here. You understand? So people are obviously taking advantage of that too. And before we know it, these resources will be depleted, just like the diamonds. Nobody knew where or why we had so much diamonds, and nobody, these average Zimbabweans are struggling.
I'm going to pick a cue from here. Since Cecil the Lion is not the most important thing on the minds of Zimbabweans right now, let's switch gears a bit and go into a bit more important matters. Mr. Mliswa, let me ask you, you are or were a member of the ZANU-PF. Your party actually supervised the, seizure of land from white farmers and the redistribution and all of that. Was this a good idea?
Listen, before I answer that question, let me just come in with this. You see, the international community must understand one thing, is that the Zimbabwean government must not divert its attention to Cecil rather than dealing with the bread and butter issues. And we will not be caught in that trap. And I would like the international community to, if they are so worried about Cecil, there are so many other lions that have been killed before. There are so many other animals that have been killed before. There is poaching that is happening of a few rhinos in South Africa and so forth. And we've not had that much noise and so forth. So listen, the animal world is a different world. And yes, the dentist in question had a right to hunt. He had his papers in order. And Cecil was in the area where he had the right to hunt. And if he shut it down, then that's it. He probably didn't know it was Cecil.
I don't know if you can verify this, Mr. Mliswa, because the reports that we received suggest that the animal was lured out of its safety zone. And the truth of the matter is, no matter how we look at it, we are not disputing that human lives most definitely are more important than animal lives. But again, we are looking at the whole moral issue of someone paying money to go somewhere hunting and we saying it's legal and all of that. We have very little time left though, but before we do though, can you address that question that I put to you before about the land seizure?
The land reform program, like the indigenous nation program, was a policy brought about to empower the people. Fair enough, we could not allow a situation where whites had 10 farms and controlled most of 4 million hectares of land when they did not constitute even 20% of the population, while the majority of the people in this country did not have land. There was willing buyer, willing seller, where they were given an option to surrender some farms to government, and equally, they'll be compensated through the Lancaster Agreement, in which the British government had agreed to compensate the white farmers. That was an agreement which was in place. They did not do that, and the British did not want to take care of the kith and kin. As a result, we could not allow a nation which has been to the struggle, is liberated, and is suffering economically. Yet, quite clearly, land reform was one of the reasons why they went to war. Land has all the resources. The very same Cecil that we talk about belongs to land. Belongs to land. These are some of the natural resources that we're talking about. We needed to take ownership of that to empower our people because of the imbalance, the historic imbalance that existed. So, to me, there is no debate on that. You need to empower your people with the resources that they have. You go to America, you go to Britain. It is the Americans who enjoy their resources. It is the British who enjoy their resources. Equally, the Africans must enjoy their resources.
Okay, that's absolutely cool. I'm sorry, we are really running out of time. We have run out of time, actually. But before you go, Mr. Mliswa, let me ask you, did you receive a farm yourself?
I was empowered. I have a letter, I have an offer letter, I have a 99-year lease. Not only that, I'm the most productive, I'm one of the most productive farmers in this country. I have produced, it was a government program. So you cannot talk about seizing a farm. It was a government program. I was given an offer letter. I was given a 99-year lease because I was productive. I've just sent 300 tons of maize to GMB, which most of the people are not able to do in the country. So I am producing, and which is quite
awesome.
important.
We are proud of you for the fact that you are producing food for your people and for others outside of your Fungai, before we go, what are your final thoughts on the whole Cecil the Lion brouhaha juxtaposed against what's going on in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Mr. Mliswa has also been, dragged into political turmoil where fellow Zimbabweans and fellow party members have been trying to seize his farm. So the question of it all is puzzling, because then when you empower your fellow Zimbabweans and then others feel like you need to be disempowered just because of your beliefs, is ridiculous. And Mr. Mliswa stands for what he believes, and he stands up and speaks.
So
publicly.
30 seconds, let's round up and yeah, go ahead with the...
So I'm thinking it's fine, but then Zimbabwe needs to find a very distinct and bold direction where it's going to empower everybody.
Very aptly said. Fungai, Maboreke, thank you very much. Thank you also, Honorable Themba Mliswa, former MP for Hurungwe West, Zimbabwe, and a farmer. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
SaharaTV, stay tuned. We have more after this.